Pretty Nerdz. 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 Pretty Nerdz.
Hi guys, welcome back to the Pretty Nerd podcast. This is your girl Falan DeAnn.
And this is your girl Nay.
Alrighty, how are you enjoying spring?
I'm enjoying it. I like it. I'm just irritated right now, feeling a little sick because of all of the pollen we've been having. It's like it's coming down in droves. But outside of that, doing pretty good. What about yourself?
Same here. Just need to get outside more. But other than that, I'm fine. Even though when I get outside, of course, I sneeze and everything, but still.
Yeah. I feel you. All right. So I guess we can go ahead and jump into this week's hot topics. Let's start off with sending our condolences to the family, friends, supporters, fans, so many different people who are feeling the loss of DMX, Mr. Earl Simmons. He did pass away at the age of 50. It was reported that he suffered, I think it was either a stroke or a heart attack due to after he had like a overdose from using, and then he ended up slipping into a coma and passed away. So definitely condolences and prayers to his family and friends and supporters, just so many different people who are feeling that loss.
Definitely. That was a heavy one. I mean, because that's an artist that I grew up on, and just knowing his demons and the things that he suffered with as well. So I'm definitely condolences to his family and friends.
Absolutely. I think it was hard for a lot of us because it's just, like you said, it's somebody that we grew up on. We know every one of his albums. It's just DMX is legendary to a lot of us. So it's just definitely, it was definitely one of those ones that it was like, wow, wasn't expecting that, So quick hitters. This one is just for me. It's the nerd in me. WrestleMania was this weekend on Sunday, and for the first time ever, they're broken into two nights, and on the first night, Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks, they made history by becoming the first Black women to headline WrestleMania. Ultimately, Bianca Belair won the match, so I adore Bianca Belair. I love her. Tennessee girl, whoop whoop. And so just congratulations to both of those young ladies. They did an incredible job. And it's finally good to start seeing some diversity being pushed to the top in that world. So congrats to them. And another really quick hitter is Lil Nas X's song Call Me By Your Name has apparently been being pulled from streaming services or streaming platforms, different people across the world in different countries and things like that. When they go to their Apple Music or Spotify or whatever, and they try to play the record, it is saying not available, not available. So I don't know.
I just feel that's just weird. Bullshit. There's so many other worse, and no one had an issue with the song. It was the video that you had issues with, and it's even then, that's his creative expression. You don't have to partake in it. Move along.
Agreed. Like you said, there's so many records that actually reference hell. Someone pointed out, Highway to Hell.
Right.
There's so many, and it's so weird to me because I'm like, rock bands have been using that whole Satan trope for years and years and years and years and years. And it's people just go with it and say nothing, but a Black kid does it. And all of a sudden it's just anarchy, I don't know.
And it was just so many people. I love his clapback stuff through it all. Where he's I think it was Jordan Lucas or Lucas Jordan, whatever his name is, was our kids listen to Old Country. That's his first song that we knew him of. What's the Old Country Road, something like that? Yeah, I know what song I'm talking about.
Old Town Road, there we go.
Old Town Road. And it was our kids listen to that song, blah, blah. And he was I'm literally talking about doing drugs and infidelity on this song. So it's bro, can y'all just leave him alone? Seriously, But like, and it just shows that you're very selective about what you pick to be outraged about. Like, he was singing about infidelity and drugs, and you like, our kids listen to this song, and that was a kid song. No, the hell it wasn't.
Big facts. Like, that whole argument to me made absolute zero sense, because for the record, we've said a multitude of times, you should never be looking to celebrities as role models or as people to raise your kids. They are not that. And as many celebrities who have said that, it was funny to see so many of them coming out saying, with this whole faux outrage, our kids listen to this, blah, 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 blah. First of all, there's a whole separate YouTube for children that Lil Nas X videos shouldn't be popping up on, because as someone who uploads things to YouTube, I know there is a space on YouTube where you have to you cannot even upload until you indicate if it is, if it's sensitive to children, or if it's, you know what I mean? So it can't even be uploaded onto the account. So obviously that's not going to appear on the children's portion of YouTube. That means you have them using the adult account, your adult version, with no parental controls. And it's like, that's the only way they could be subscribed to Lil Nas X channel, to be able to even be seeing anything that he's dropping. You know what I mean? So like, that whole excuse, to me, more highlights your lack of parenting your child and expecting someone else to do it than it does at anything that he says or does, you know?
That's correct. Yep. And that's how I feel. So I was like, I don't know. I just feel like I don't understand outrage. Like, that ain't had nothing to do with y'all. And what he do with his genitals still ain't got nothing to do with y'all. His whole issue, because I'm like, I really feel like, had he not came out and said he was punk, it would have not been a big issue. Like, you probably would have still had a couple of people outraged, but I don't think it would have been that big of an issue.
I just didn't grasp the whole issue in general. Like I said, people have been talking about Satan and devil and blah, 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 blah for ages upon ages. It's not something that's new in music, any form of entertainment. It's not like a new thing. So I don't understand where this faux outrage is coming from. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't believe, you don't believe. Like, so I don't get it, you know? And like I said, and then the whole thing with the shoe issue, like, I didn't understand that either, because I'm like, y'all weren't outraged when they dropped the godly shoe, which to me, I would have been more outraged by, because one, it was tacky, and two, like, they literally put like holy water in it. Like, it seems so sacrilegious to me, but y'all wasn't outraged by that. A lot of y'all was like, oh, those is hard. So what was the issue with the little demon shoe? If people wanted to buy it, that's their personal preference or business, but it is what it is, I guess.
Just weird, like, it's hell.
Absolutely. But can we please stop with this whole argument about the kids? Like, yeah, I don't give a fuck about the kids. Like, half of y'all kids, and half of y'all in the car with y'all kids knowing all the words to throw baby. Like, stop it.
Listen.
Yeah, with y'all.
Singing a whole song, singing everything to I Thought a Broke Nigga Said Something. So don't do that.
Big face. Like, let's move on. So let's get into the two most serious topics that have come out this week. Obviously, yet again, we have seen another Black man who was murdered by the police. 20-year-old Daunte Wright in Minnesota was killed by Officer Kim Porter, former officer now, Kim Porter. She, based on the body cam video, based on everything that we're hearing, she claims that she thought she was pulling her taser, but ended up pulling her gun and quote unquote accidentally shooting him. It's another poor example of, disregard for Black bodies. It's another poor example of the excuses that they will come up with. We saw the exact same excuse with the murder of Oscar Grant. Literally the exact same excuse. Oh, I thought I was going for my taser. Like, we've seen that they literally make tasers a different size, texture from a, feel from an actual handgun. so that type of mistake can't be made. Not only that, Kim Porter was 26 years on the force, supposedly trained, you know what I mean, ahead of the police union at one point. She was actually at the time on, training another off person to become an officer. And you, quote unquote, made that mistake. Like, what does that say about your police force?
Oh, just, I just try to just shut my brain off because I'm just sick of it. Like, it's the same freaking excuse, nothing different. The only thing now is you went back to Oscar Grant. It's either you made a mistake or, you fear for your life. And then you also have on the other side where I feel like, okay, if you made a mistake, you pay consequences, because everyday people, if you make a mistake, you get second degree murder, which they did charge her with eventually. But of course, I feel like that was just to keep the peace, and probably to stop the looting and the rioting or whatever. But I'm like, let's see conviction rates for them making mistakes.
Yeah, and let's clarify, she didn't get charged with second degree murder. She got charged with second degree manslaughter.
Oh, sorry.
It's an important distinction, just because we know that manslaughter charges, basically, especially as you get further and further down, like second degree, third degree, it's basically slap on the wrist. Let's be honest. We'll be surprised if she receives any jail time with that charge. You know what I mean? She may get a 6-month sentence and probably get like a time served or something like that. It'll be, it literally smells the same way as the Oscar Grant situation, minus the fact that the Oscar Grant guy had only been on the force for like a year, and this woman was 26 years in. But essentially, I feel like this will play out fairly similar way. She'll end up probably getting a slap on the wrist, maybe, like I said, 6 months, and then probably get like time served and be out in amongst her family and friends. She'll still, as she quit her job, she'll still probably file for early retirement, receive her pension, pay from, you know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those, it's just like you just throw your hands up. Like, I had to, when I started seeing all of those different images, it was everywhere. Like, I had to decompress. Like, I turned off TVs. I avoided places on social media because, like I have said a million times, I really wish they would put warnings in front of those type of videos and things on social media, like, hey, graphic footage coming, please, if it's one of those things you don't want to watch, please skip over it. Like, I really wish they would start putting warnings, because it's a lot. It's a lot. Like, for Black people, it's a lot for us to continually have to see our trauma and pain splayed out on display like that. You know what I mean? It's a lot.
And that's the same thing. If I see like the name, I'm like, oh, let me keep strolling. I didn't even watch the video recording of the Army sergeant, I think or lieutenant, one of them.
Correct.
That was like pepper sprayed and all that. I couldn't even watch it because I'm like, it just makes me angry. And I sit in that anger for so long that I know it's not healthy.
Yeah. It's definitely, like I said, it's definitely triggering, and it's a lot. Like, I feel like we just, you know what I mean? Like, I felt like I had to call people, check in on them, check on their mental health and everything like that. Because it's just like, it's so much, so many images that we're being bombarded with that it's just, ooh. And it almost seems like we don't really even have any escapes. And this is kind of like just sidebar off of this situation a little bit. But even in entertainment, we're starting to see so much what they call Black trauma porn. That's what I consider it as well, where it's literally like the same tropes over and over now in movies, and they're basically disguising it as, well, this is what's going on in real life and we need to show this to people. But at the same time, it's just like trauma for us over and over and over and over again. It's like we see it in real life, I don't really want to see it. And
even
every fucking
like,
movie.
and we experience it. It's not even just seeing. It's like this is what we experience, and it's not anything that I want to constantly see when I just want to watch a television show, because most of us use television to decompress at the end of the day, and I don't want to turn on my TV and see that. And Lena,
Girl, listen. First of all, as soon as I saw the name of the show, I was like, oh, this seems like it's going to be a knockoff of Jordan Peele's show. But then when I started seeing the reviews on Twitter, I was like, thank heavens that my insight said, do not watch this. Because
your spidey senses already worn out.
Because nope, when I saw all the people talking about it, I said, I already knew, because I don't know what it is with Lena Waithe. It's like she has an obsession with showing the most brutal instances of our pain. And I'm not with it. I'm not with it at all. Like, I applaud her for getting her foot through the door and trying to make a name for herself, but at the same time, it's like, yeah.
Can you pick something else to do?
Exactly. That makes me appreciate Miss Marseille Martin so much more, because baby girl, to be 16 with that type of wisdom, to say, I ain't doing it. I avoid those scripts. And if you bring one of them to me, it ain't gonna be made by me. And I'm just like, okay, sis, yes. So I don't know. But all in all, getting back to the whole situation at hand, like I said, Kim Porter was charged. We'll see how it plays out. I am not hopeful. I'm not. But we shall see how everything goes. And then I guess our final hot topic for this week is, it has been reported that the U.S. has suspended or paused the use of the Johnson & Johnson vaccine due to an unidentified blood clotting issue. So apparently 6 women reported having blood clots. I think they said 1 passed away, but the other 5 had like a serious blood clotting issue. I just recently seen an update on it. They're saying that they're wondering since it only affected women, if it's hormonal. All in all, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Out of all of the vaccines, Johnson & Johnson was the one that I was the most skeptical about. It was the one that if it came down to they giving appointments and they saying, all we doing is Johnson & Johnson, nah, I'm good. I can't do the Johnson & Johnson. They was never on the table of consideration for taking the vaccine. You know what I mean? Like, not Johnson & Johnson. The ones who, literally created cancer in baby powder. Like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah, and I've seen like a lot of people here. I saw like one post where they were saying that Johnson & Johnson was like, I don't know how true it is, but they were saying like it was big in like Chicago areas and like the Black communities or whatever. And I was like, I don't know. And then other people were saying it became popular because, of course, people, by being a low income area, vaccines were available to them first. And a lot of richer people were coming to that area to get vaccinated. So I don't know. Like,
disagree with that.
I want to go with that.
Only because of the simple fact that the vast majority of places, the Johnson & Johnson were only really popular in the places that started opening up to allow like the chain pharmacies to give the shot, because it's quicker, because it's only a 1 shot. So people only had to have it 1 shot. So the majority of like vaccination sites are only doing the 2-shot ones, but if you were getting it at like for convenience at like the Walmart or Walgreens, et cetera, they were the main ones offering the Johnson & Johnson. And I mean, that affects all communities. And like I said, it appealed to a lot of people only because it was just 1 shot, as opposed to having to come back to 2 separate appointments. But in my area, I can speak for sure. In my area, they don't even offer the Johnson & Johnson. They only are giving the Pfizer. So
mine as well. And I seen Pfizer. Yeah, that's the only one that I've seen. So, and that's the one that I'm taking. So.
Yeah. I will be transparent. I've already gotten my first dose. So scheduled for my second dose at the end of the month. So
how are you feeling?
So after the first shot, honestly, the only issue I had was like my arm hurt. Like when they say now, I'll be real about that. When they say that your arm will hurt, your arm hurt. Like, and it hits you like after, like it'll hit you pretty much right after, it will be like a little dull pain, but then like the next day, like your arm will actually hurt. But it wore off pretty quickly outside of that. But I already knew what to expect because my parents had taken it. And I had a bunch of like aunts and uncles and all of that. And I kind of got to see how, all that played out with both my parents. Like my dad and I kind of had some similar symptoms. Like on the first one, we had like headaches and stuff like that and like a pain in our arm. And then the second one, he was perfectly fine. My mom, her first shot, she was perfectly fine. And the second one, she was really sleepy afterwards and all of that, but wasn't like no huge major side effects. Nothing that like some Pedialyte, you know what I mean? Drink some Pedialyte, get your electrolytes up, you fine.
Okay. I'm nervous, but I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, literally, it was not as bad as I expected. Like I literally got in. I made my appointment for like I think it was 11:45. Got in a little line, hopped in really quickly, stayed for my 15 minutes to make sure, that you didn't have any side effects, and then went home. Like I said, the worst part of it is just the shot aspect itself, because I don't like needles. So that was pretty much the worst part of it all. And then, like I said, I drove myself, so I will recommend. I was dumb and I was like, oh, it doesn't matter which arm you put it in. So she put it into my left arm, and I am left-handed. So when I was driving, I was like, oh, this hurts. Damn it. I should have chose the right arm. But outside of that, it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't bad. Like I feel, and I generally feel better when I'm out now in spaces, when I'm in the gym, even though I still wear my mask. I don't give a shit. I'm still wearing it. But I just genuinely feel better about being out and about now.
I'm excited. And I read like the research that was saying like mothers, if you're breastfeeding and you take it, you give your baby the antibodies. So they kind of like push me and like, okay, I have to do it, even, not just for myself, but for my baby as well. So, yeah, I don't know. It's weird because it's so many people like, oh, we're going to have I don't know. It's just like you hear all the conspiracy theories and stuff that we've been having. Like people like, oh, we're going to have the vaccination passport. I'm like, but that's the same thing like your little blue or green card that you have to give, when you went to college and made sure that you were vaccinated for meningitis and stuff like that. I was like, it's just weird. I'm like, it's just electronic, or if they're going to do electronic or if you got to show it. I'm like, I'm pretty sure when measles was a big thing and you wanted to go and, travel across the U.S., I'm pretty sure you probably had to show like, listen, I'm not going to spread measles to your population. Here's my proof that I'm vaccinated. I don't know. I feel like the internet it's a good place, but then at the same time, it's so fucking scary because anybody can say any fucking thing. And if it has a little tiny ounce of sense to it, and when I say tiny, I mean very tiny because a lot of it is bullshit. People just like run with it and be like, oh yeah, that's true. And, this vaccination has only been for a year. And I'm like even doing research on it, I'm like, they were already working on it from the 2003 outbreak, but it was only 1 or 2 cases here and there. So it was no immediate need.
Right.
So
exactly. That's what people just don't understand. I'm with you. Like I didn't understand like the what I call the faux outrage, because I'm like, y'all act like before y'all had to go to school, like you didn't have to present your shot record. Like you couldn't even go to school if you hadn't had your certain vaccinate. Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's the difference? Like, people just want to be outraged about anything nowadays. Like I said, and like, I can definitely understand the hesitancy because I was hesitant. We talked about it here on the show. But ultimately, I just had to boil down to, like, think about it like this. Like, I eat fast food. I eat junk food. Like, who knows what the fuck they put in all different foods and crap that we're eating anyway. So it's like, in the air quality and shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you have to think about shit like that. It's like, shit, fuck it. Like, you got to gamble. I mean, we take a gamble with, like I said, the food that we eat and all that shit like that. Like, it don't deter people. We know how bad fast food is for us, but it don't deter our fat asses from eating fast food. So, fuck it. Sometimes you got to take a gamble and a risk, and if it comes back to bite you, it comes back. But at least in the moment, like I said, I genuinely feel better about being outside.
That's what I want to get to. Because I'm like, I'd be so anxious. I'm like, I don't want to catch COVID.
Yeah.
And just hearing people's stories about, like, oh, I caught COVID and, you know, these are my symptoms and it was horrible. And I'm like, I don't want it.
And then the after effects to me is what, shit. People,
and I know, like, people
neurological symptoms. Good Lord, that scares the shit out of me.
Yeah. And I was reading, like, on one post where people were saying, like, they had COVID last year in, like, the summertime and they still don't have taste.
Oh, good.
Or it's like spotty. It's here and there. Like, you know, some days it's like, okay, I can taste. Or it's like, I can only taste metal when I eat food. I'm like, they will probably be good for me. But I know that, like, I can't imagine that has to, like, play really hard on your psyche and your mental. Like, even though it, you know, it's just something like, you know, normal, like, okay, I can taste food, I can smell stuff. Like, me not being able to taste the smell, probably like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die. So I don't know. And like I said, just seeing, like, how you're saying the neurological effects, people are saying they still have, like, brain fog. And the work that I do is my job, I actually process, like, people death claims. And I've seen so many people, like, COVID-19 pneumonia, or they may have something, you know, they're like 50 and like, oh, well, you know, they had cancer, but COVID-19 made it worse.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, we got to do better. And what is it about the U.S. and not wearing masks? We are past a year in this thing. Why are we still fighting with people to wear masks?
I don't. Listen, I do not understand that at all. I will say though, on the note as far as the vaccines, the one I say positive that we can, well, besides the fact that people are obviously getting vaccinated and will be able to kind of get back to some sort of semblance of our older lives as what we consider normal life or whatever. They are reporting, because of what, you know, what they were able to do with these vaccines and being able to use mRNA with the making of these vaccines, that it has significantly impacted the fights against AIDS and cancer research as well. They're now entering into heavier clinical trials with an mRNA sample for both cancer, different forms of cancer, by the way, as well as for AIDS. That with the use of mRNA, they feel that they may be able to isolate what causes the viruses and what causes cancer, and be able to fight it off and hopefully cure both of those things. So, I mean, listen, sometimes with these types of situations, there's a significant, you know, with science, that's the one thing about science. Sometimes it just takes a little domino to fall before other big dominoes start to fall. So,
yeah.
So hopefully we shall see kind of what comes up of it. And like I said, I think that they said with the Johnson & Johnson one, for those people who had already gotten it, they said it was like such a super significant rare blood clot thing that they said, don't even, like, if you had it weeks and weeks ago, you're fine. Don't worry about it. Yeah. They said just for people who had just recently got it, that they should, you know, look out for those abnormal symptoms and then go back to report. But like, I mean, they said what 6 cases out of like 50. I don't know.
7 million. 7 million people. Yeah. So it's like that's less than 1%. Like way less. Than 1%.
Yeah. So nonetheless, obviously, like I said, it's everybody's own choice. Make whatever choice you want to make, but you know, don't let misinformation deter you if that's your only deterrent, you know.
Yeah.
All right. So now, that is all we have for hot topics. I don't have anything else listed on the list. So let's go ahead and move into the relationship portion of our show. This week, you have a lifestyle question, correct?
Mm-hmm. So my question is, what is one bad kitchen habit that you have?
Bad kitchen habit. I have a few. For one, I'm one of those people who I have like a plethora of spices, and I like to take them all out while I'm going. I be driving people insane because I can't just. Sometimes I just want to use a certain spice, but then sometimes I can't decide, and so you have to take and look, and while you're cooking, oh, I might want to use. Let me try and put some of this. Oh, I like this. I'm putting, you know what I mean. So that drives the people who are around. That's why, listen, when I cook, I don't like for people to be in my kitchen with me because I'm just like, let me do me, man. I'll clean it up after I'm done, but let me do what I need to do while I'm cooking. And then I would say my second bad kitchen habit, and this is why I know that I have to have a legitimate high-key partner. Like, we have to have a compromise. Like, I'll clean this if you clean this, because I hate to do dishes. Absolutely hate doing dishes. To me, it's just one of the grossest things ever. So I'm like one of those people who with their partners, how they have those compromises, like one person will do the laundry and the other person will agree to fold. I will clean the entire kitchen. You just got to do the dishes.
That's me. I hate this. Hate them. Hate it. I think for me, I definitely use way too many paper towels. When I say way too many paper towels, like every time if I'm washing dishes or if I'm doing anything and I go in, I rinse my hands off, I use a paper towel. Wiping the counter off, use a paper towel. And I don't know why I do it. Cause it's you could have just used the towel to do that, but I do. Let me see what else. And cups. I use a cup, a new cup every time I get something to drink.
Oh yeah, see. That's my mom does that too, man. That drives me insane.
I'm like, but this is my water
everywhere.
And I try to do. I'm like, okay, this is my water cup, and this will be my juice cup, or if I get something else to drink, and I still end up with another cup. I don't know. I have an issue. And not to be the one that not like to wash dishes, you would think that I wouldn't use that many fucking cups, but yeah, I do.
Girl, listen, the struggle. So we are going to quickly then segment to our new music, books, TV segment. Anything that you kind of want to get off your chest and share with the people?
Nothing for me. I'm trying to think new music. I feel like I do like the song with Meg Thee Stallion and Freddie, Bankroll Freddie. Feel like it's Meg's song, but I like it. Because I feel like she ate that song to the max. And he just got on there and,
Okay.
It was Meg.
I haven't actually heard that one yet.
But I downloaded that. Yeah, that's pretty much it for me.
No, do documentaries?
No, I haven't found anything interesting, but I did see on one of my posts on Facebook, and I got to go back because I forgot all about. It's a channel called American Heroes, and they have a lot of documentaries on there. So I definitely have to go back and pick that back up. I don't know what made me stop, but yeah, so I'll be back on.
Okay. All right. Well, on my end, the only thing that I have new that I have picked up, I've been checking out. I just started Alter Carbon on Netflix. It's a sci-fi show, of course. Y'all know that's my genre. So I just started that on Netflix literally today. I started about maybe two episodes in. So I just started that. I am rewatching the last season of Pose only because the final season is getting ready to pick up soon. And I feel like it's been such a long time since season 3 aired. And this new season is come. It's like been such a huge break that I feel like I need to catch up. Well, rewatch those last couple episodes just so I can refresh my memory. But I already saw the preview for the final season, and I know there's just going to be tears being shed because I sense death is coming to some of my faves, and I just not ready at all. But outside of that, nothing new on my side. Other than that, yeah, that's all I got in that department. Anything else for you?
No, nothing else for me. I feel like I want to pick up on that show though. I don't know. We'll see. But I feel like that about watching because Handmaid's Tale come back on soon. So I'm like, yeah, I know I'm gonna have to rewatch the whole season
That's what
before.
I'm saying. Like, I hate when they take. I know that it's just to extend kind of the seasons or whatever. But I hate when they take such huge breaks like that. Like I feel like it's been over a year since the end of last season of Pose, and that's why I feel like I gotta go back just so I can refresh my memory of what the hell actually happened last season, because I remember some of it, but then I don't remember a lot of it. Anywho, and I know you said that you didn't have a rant this week, so I am going to then jump right into the nerd moment of the week. And this one is going to be pretty short and sweet as well. First and foremost, I just want to apologize to all of you out there. I know I said I would be watching Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and I do plan on watching it, but I am super behind. I've only watched the first episode, and I think they're on like episode 4 or 5. I think 5 is going to be airing on Friday. So I'm like super behind on it. So instead of giving you every episode play by play, I'm just going to wait till the end of the season and give you my full review on the season just because I'm so far behind on that. I am caught up on the CW's Flash. I think we are on episode 8 that just aired. I'm not really going to give you a synopsis of the last 3 episodes that we've seen, just because honestly, it hasn't been that memorable. I'll be completely honest. I'm a little like saddened by this season of The Flash. I had high hopes for Eric taking over as showrunner, Black man, supposedly, bringing in diversity and different things and yada, yada. And I mean, while it has been a little bit better, it hasn't been like to the extent that I expected it to be. Like I expected him to give way more than he's been given, as far as just the leaning into some of the Blackness. I mean, they have a lot of diversity on that show as far as the characters, whether it be Asian Americans, Black Americans, Hispanic American. Like, I mean, there's a lot of diversity on that show, and I don't feel like it's celebrated enough or used properly enough. And I think to me that falls back on the writing and on the production. And so, I mean, if you're going to hedge yourself as a showrunner and kind of take over that mantle and say that you're going to be leaning into certain things and you don't pull it off, it is what it is. But yeah, this season to me this far hasn't been that memorable. The best episode was actually last week's episode, in my opinion, where they did a throwback to the 90s. I thoroughly enjoyed that episode. It was funny, which to me, that's what I liked about The Flash in the beginning, is it had like a element of comedy to it in a superhero show all rolled into one. It was like a lot of heart in there, and just it's been lacking that for a couple of years, and so yeah, it is what it is. Moving on from that, we also got a release date on Titans season 3. It's scheduled to be released on July 15th. It's going to be making its debut on HBO Max. Obviously, it was on the DC streaming service before, But they closed that down this year and moved pretty much all those shows have moved to HBO Max, including Titans. So it'll be premiering on July 15th. Also, in that regards, DC Warner Brothers has made the announcement that starting 2022, they will go back to their original format where everything will premiere at the movies as opposed to the format they've been using during COVID, where the same day that it comes out in a movie theater, you get it on HBO Max. You will not get that starting in 2022. It's going to go back to the old format, which kind of makes me sad just because I feel like one of the things that came out of COVID is we had to kind of learn to do things differently. And I feel like for them, it was successful, right? A lot of people, their numbers for last week's Kong versus Godzilla were huge on the movie front. They made a lot of money from streaming as well as from in the theaters of people who actually went to the theaters and went out to see it. So I'm like, if it's working and it's not, not causing you to go in the red, why not? But at the same time, I get it because, the movie theaters are who allow them to make movies. So if, they want to show support back to the movie theaters, then they got to do what they got to do. So I get it. But at the same time, I'm just like, I got so used to just being able to watch things on HBO Max instead of having to go to the theater if I didn't want to. But I do miss the movie theater at the same time.
I cannot wait to go see a movie.
Yeah. It's definitely one of those two folds. Like as soon as after I get my second shot, the first thing I'll probably do is go take in a movie just because, man, I have missed going to the movie theater so much, but I still love the idea of being able to watch a movie that premiere on HBO Max if I want to, as opposed to having to go to the theater. But it is what it is. Also, in regards to DC, Black Adam, after a bajillion years, I seen a stat that said that all the way back in I think it was 2006 was when The Rock was first cast as Black Adam. So that's how long this movie has been in the works. Finally, earlier this week, it finally went into production. So they finally started production on Black Adam. So, and we know that it's slated to be released sometime late in 2022. So that's a good look in that regard. And then my final nerd moment for this week, for all of us out there who have been waiting as patiently, fighting through all of the rumors and everything, finally, Friday, the 23rd, Mortal Kombat. We're finally getting it. That Mortal Kombat movie is finally coming out. I am super excited, super stoked. I'm mostly excited to kind of see the direction that they're going in with this one. They said that for once, they're actually leaning into the fact that it is a martial arts movie, so they're kind of leaning heavily on the Asian characters that are so popular within the game, as opposed to the typical Sonya Blade and Johnny love story movie that all the other Mortal Kombats had kind of in previous Mortal Kombat movies had in common. Actually, Johnny Cage will not even be featured in this first movie. There's talks that he may be if they get a sequel, he may be in the sequel, but he's not even in the first one. So I'm just saying, we're getting something different here, you guys. So I'm super excited about it. I will be checking it out on the 23rd. So, but outside of that, that's it for me in regards to the nerd moment of the week. Anything else on your end, Falan DeAnn?
Nothing else for me.
All right. So then, per usual, we want to thank you guys so much for listening, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Good night, guys.
Good night.